Everyone's favorite YouTuber, Paige Wassel, told me that in the morning you have to open all of your windows. Not necessarily open them, but make sure that the curtains or the blinds are drawn up so that you can welcome the day with light. And I just think that that's a great rule of thumb. So I wanted to pass it along. Shout out to Paige. Today I have a coffee with a friend of mine, Steven, who I've mentioned on this channel before. He's a casting director. So, when an actor is ever in an opportunity to have a friendship with a casting director, there's a lot of crossover. I feel like, how do I reach out to casting? Like, there's no consistent right way to do it other than doing it through an audition, making them a fan of your work. And that's what we're doing out here, I think, as actors. We're singing for our supper. We're trying to make fans of people in rooms. The statistic of actors who are out of work is just staggering, and I'm one of them. It's a difficult space to be in, but that's why I think it's so important to just open up my process and let anybody who might be going through this in a different market, even maybe you're not in LA, maybe you're in a different market or something, and you can let me know how it's going over there. We need to support each other, because it really is feeling like we are alone on our own individual islands sometimes, and the very craft of acting is about presence and living out an experience. That requires us to be experiencing our lives. I don't think that there's going to be any movement away from our phones. So what I hope to contribute is just an authentic voice in that space. Someone who is feeling the way that you're feeling. You know what I'm finding? If I just roll the camera, apparently I have a lot to say. I think I thought that I was not going to have enough to say, but now I'm realizing I won't shut the hell up. And then I'll also stay open to any conversations that he and I may have that may act as fun little nuggets or anecdotes or something that I can expand on for more content for you guys. The day-to-day of whatever the hell I'm doing, trying to be a movie star. I guess I'll muse on that for a moment. Is it possible? Does it exist even? I think that's the dream that some of us still hold on to. Whether or not it is an outdated dream, I think remains to be seen. Or maybe it hasn't. Maybe there's tons of evidence of it and I just don't want to believe it yet because I want it. Because I want to be it. Every single person who's ever made any noise as a filmmaker, as a performer, anyone who's ever made any noise as an artist, used whatever was at their disposal, their resources, and they put all those pieces together in order to make a work and then share it. If my product is myself, whoa. I'm realizing I have a John Waters Pope of Trash t-shirt on. There was a John Waters exhibit at the Academy Museum, which is where I got this shirt. What a perfect example of someone who used whatever was at his disposal in order to make films that became iconic first works, and some of them silent films, so low budget, black and white, with drag queens and outsiders, and it was so rock and roll. So like, whatever the hell I'm doing right now with this YouTube channel, like, fuck all the judgment, because I still am who I am and I'm just sharing that. To be honest with you, I have to stop and think, this is so rock and roll. Regardless of how this might sound, is so rock and roll. Just to fucking say fuck the rules and be like, actually, no, this is who I am. This is what I want to say. This is how I say it. I welcome anyone in here. Now, as I say it, I'm fearful, right? I'm fearful of the critique, but at the same time, I just got to keep going. I just got to keep being myself. If there's one thing about auditioning and getting denied over and over and over and over, the trial and error, the emotional weight of just everything that it takes to do this, I don't know that anyone who would have anything to say about me sharing in this way, because it feels so authentic and real and just direct, that if anyone would have anything negative to say about that, all I would think and feel and know is just that, like, that is perfectly fine. I welcome that. I welcome you to be yourself. We're gonna be here making art. That won't stop. I hear people say, oh, the industry is broken, you know, Hollywood is over, blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking, I might be in denial, but we are still out here evolving, changing, growing, learning, getting better and better and better and better and better and better. That is what is still going to be going on long after I'm here. It's not over. What I really want to do with this YouTube channel and what you guys can help me do, this grassroots, new wave, new voices, just completely free to express themselves inside of this machine that fuels itself. I would be able to present fully produced, beautiful cinema on this channel with all my cool friends. You look at John Waters. If you don't know who John Waters is, look him up. If you're not using the tools at your disposal in order to create whatever you see in your mind, start doing it. And I gotta get going. Here's what it looks like to be out in the world. It's crazy. My sister just texted me something really sweet and it came across my phone. I think I needed it right now. Happy birthday, sister, if you're watching. So I was a little bit worried that my life would start revolving around this phone if I started to record content everywhere I went. But actually, I think what it's doing is it's allowing me to take some inventory more often. My lunch with Steven was so great. And then my manager texted me and said, how's your British accent? I said, what region? You say yes. You just say yes. Yes, always. Always say yes. So I just saw the email come through and I'm excited to work on that role. I have to send some job applications as well because I want to pick up another part-time job. I wanted to show you guys this helmet. You've already seen it, but I just wanted to talk about it because some of my friends roast me for it, but I think it's cool because it stands out. But I like a pop of color. As you can see, my bike is blue, my shoes are red. Actually, it's a bit much. Maybe just one pop of color will do it. Edit. I'm gonna head home and I'm gonna work on this audition. The only thing I can share is that this is for a supporting lead in a feature, and it is a British man. To Thursday, 3 p.m. That gives me a little less than 48 hours, plenty of time. This is what you hope for, you guys. It takes a while to get your life kind of structured, your routine structured, your community in place, your home in place, as I'm still seeing. Because you have to build a foundation. I don't think there's any way to have any real longevity if you don't solidify some type of foundation and some type of consistent structure in a world that is structureless, you know? That's why a lot of people don't last in this business. It's not even necessarily so much the work, but just how you can sustain. It's unfortunate how much of an artist's energy has to go into that. It is the nature of the world. We have to work within the parameters that we are given. So if it's that important to you, you gotta find a way. There are tons of different side hustles that actors do. Freelance content creation, voiceover work, background work, teaching, coaching, writing, med spas, dermatologist office, gyms. I know actors who are tour guides, brand ambassadors, real estate agents, servers, baristas, bartenders, freelance photographers, portrait photographers, headshot photographers. I've also seen actors become life coaches and fitness instructors. I was a cycle instructor. You could be a reader at a casting director's office. Uber, Lyft, DoorDash, Postmates. I know an actor who has a contracting business. He builds houses. That's so badass. My recommendation is to look at your skill set and then choose something that is creatively fulfilling as well. That you won't be expelling all of your emotional and creative energy if you are needing it to apply elsewhere. So pick the job that is the least amount of stakes, that gives you the most amount of money, that allows you to apply the least amount of time. Whatever job you choose cannot take away from your creative container, your capacity to create, your emotional bandwidth. If you can figure out what that is, it feels so empowering and it only feeds the overall artist that you are becoming. Pay your bills, feed yourself, and dedicate as much time as possible to creating your art or pursuing work in your chosen creative field. Auditions come through and life is in motion. The last thing I want to do is be worried about how I'm going to transfer sides into a physical copy in order to start working. A lot of times these windows are very short. Obviously, it's a good idea to have a printer on hand. You're going to be printing a lot. And so just make sure you're familiar with the process, getting ink, paper, things like that. Depending on the audition, you might get access to the script, you might not. In this case, I did. So last night I read the script. I want to familiarize myself with the story and see what function my character serves.
We're doing one more round of pillows.
Then I cooked dinner.
Round, but this is the last round.
I watched Paige Wassel on YouTube. Began rehearsing my lines for discovery and point of view, and then I loosely memorized. A lot of times it's good to just start saying it out loud and reading it as soon as you get it. Definitely recommend as soon as you can to get to the script. Start digging in, asking yourself questions about the stories, making notes where you need to. I'm really looking for what my character wants, how I feel about what I want, what sorts of behaviors I'm using in order to get them, how I feel about what I want, my obstacles, my internal obstacles. A huge one for me is thinking about the relationship to the person I'm speaking to in the scene. That is extremely important, that's specific and thought out, because the more specific the relationship to the person you're speaking to, the more believable it will be, not only for the person watching, but for yourself, that you're in that world. It's all make-believe. So the more details I can mine the dialogue for in order to understand my circumstances, the more I can dig my heels in and live out an experience as best of my ability, as best you can for an audition. Once you've done as much work as you think you need to on the script, there's sort of a gray area that exists, in my opinion, where the actor is allowed to be inventive. Now you bring your life to the script. Now you make choices. Now you get inventive. In some way or another, I feel like this is all for my inner child, so I like to keep this playful. Another element of this audition, as we know, is the accent. So that will have to color my choices. This is a comedy, so I'm excited to start figuring out who this person is and who this person is to me and how I can bring myself to this role underneath the mask, the behavior of another. This is the funnest part to me. This is the exciting part. Let this part just bring your imagination to life. Cool, so right when I left the house, I opened my phone because I'm addicted to it. I saw on Instagram, the Last Showgirl Instagram page, that the trailer finally dropped. I'm so excited to see that movie. You guys can also cross-reference the Last Showgirl IMDb page. Just have a little browse through the cast, and that will be a clear indication as to why I'm excited. Onward. As you continue to rehearse the sides for the audition, you'll notice you can actually hear the structure of the comedic dialogue that this character seems to be a Basil Fawlty if he was genuinely happy. Actors who make choices are inherently more interesting. Because of the way I look, it's possible that I wouldn't book a character that's exactly like a John Cleese type, and this role is younger, so I have to keep that in mind. Can't be too mature in his mannerism. He can't be too mature, he just can't. So I think he's got to be a little more boyish. Harry? I haven't decided yet, but do you see how it's a constant discovery? If you make imaginative decisions, when you have a bold take on the character, if you have your own point of view on the dialogue, I think the best thing you can do as an actor is work on specificity. What do you mean by what you're saying? And you have to mine the dialogue for details. And then based on those details, you make inferences about the character. And then based on those inferences of the character, then that gives you kind of a driving force, a point of view, a reason to be there. If you don't have a reason to be there, you wouldn't have the audition because your character wouldn't be in the story. If it's something that you're there to get, and get it. That's what anchors all the characters into the story, is their wants, like what is driving them. And each character has something that is driving them, pulling them through a scene, each scene, and it's all by design, or at least it should be. If you can think about it from terms of like, you are there to fulfill a role, one cog in a much larger machine, you can tailor your choices to what that story specifically needs. And that's why some people are so good at booking like co-stars specifically, because they are functional professional who know how to do the job. They know what they're there to do. You know, acting is doing. If you don't know what you mean by what you're saying, the answer is in the script somewhere. So go back and read it, because that's your job. If you don't want to read scripts, I don't know, I can't relate, actually. One last thing. We are playing make-believe, so keep it fun. All right, I need to go. It's about to be very Ned Schneebly. Now, the way that I understand accents is future me here in the edit. I'm all worried about people in the comments coming for me, telling me this isn't the right way to do it and stuff. And I was reminded of this random video from so long ago by Ricky Thomas that lives rent-free in my head.
This is my skincare routine, okay? This works for me. This works for me, okay? This skincare routine may not work for you, but it works for me. M.A.
And I'm carrying this same energy. The way that I understand accents is if you're paying very close attention to the musculature in your mouth, where your tongue placed, how your lips move. A good anchor point is paying special attention to vowels. Vowels, vowels, vowel, 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 ah, ow, mom, Chicago, ugh. There's something a little bit more harsh about the way that we speak in the Western world. The oral posture of what's going on inside of your mouth and how you are getting around or through the words, essentially. And it's just about playing with that sound. Ugh. When you think about sentence structure and the cadence of different cultures and how they communicate. In Australia, every sentence kind of goes up. Sounds a little bit like a question. The next exercise I like to do, in the past I've joked that if anybody ever saw me do it, they would just think I'm nuts.
This works for me. This works for me, okay?
Basically, I just pick up a book, watch a show, as whatever genre or character inspiration is sort of playing, I read a little bit, and then I mimic a little bit, and then I talk a little bit. It basically just gets the accent into my musculature and gets me off of the dialogue and away from the character altogether. So it's a good exercise to do to just get everything completely out of your head. Just basically learn everything that you can and then just forget it all. Let us hear a young poet. Introduction. And despite all the subjective threat and hindrance, of which some think you can see morbidly, and if I was the fan, I'd be letting go. I'm getting to the point in my week where it's time to do laundry. You gotta get your mouth around it. This is the process of what I like to do. Time-sensitive item on the to-do list is more important than the frivolous activity that you insist on doing. Which I'm trying to absorb by osmosis, essentially. I'm not sure if it makes sense. I don't care. I'm also going to karaoke tonight with some friends of mine. Take it slow. I wanted to show you like the framing. I'm setting up my self-tape right now. This is not what I'm wearing. Also, you're always hearing planes in your takes, depending on where you live. I am in the valley girl. So, not exactly this, but this kind of framing. I'm in a chair right now, so I can raise it. Can't raise it any higher. But this type of framing, usually, for me, every single person you ask has a different opinion on self-tapes, how they should be. Last audition I had 2 days ago, there was a scary electrical spark on my extension cord and my light crapped out. Whoa. Now it doesn't plug in anywhere. You can see I'm a little bit lit up from this window, but I need this blank background. If you guys see that there's a shadow on my face right here, what I can maybe do is pull up a lamp and put it on this side of the camera so that I can fill in that shadow. Just want everything to read. You want them to be able to see your eyes. I'm not gonna wear this hat because I want them to be able to like see me. Let's try it. See what we can do. All right, oops. That's kind of what I mean. Every single person will tell you a different thing on a self-tape. Some people book self-tapes with apartments behind them, you know, on a Zoom camera on their laptop, which is sitting on a desk. There's that very famous viral video of Lucas Gage that went everywhere during COVID. So you never know. People tell you to have blue backgrounds, green backgrounds, you know, beige backgrounds, white backgrounds, gray backgrounds. So I think just do what you can at the end of the day. I feel like this helps me feel more English while I prepare. I'm not gonna set this up entirely because I'm not taping right now, but I just wanted to show you, depending on where you put it, now the light is over here, and then I move it, you can see that the shadow on my face moves. This might be the most obvious information, or it might help you figure out, move it closer. You know, I mean, that's way too close for self-tapes and stuff, but you see, whatever you wanna do. Get creative, you know? Start a YouTube channel. You're the creative. It's up to you to create. Deadlines, baby. All right, here we are. I've just finished my audition. This particular audition, 4 scenes. This is what I decided to wear. I did wear that hat I was wearing earlier in the video, and then I like took it off at the top of the first scene as my action, which is a good note for any actors who are doing self-tapes out there. Always give yourself an activity, something to do, a reason to be there, as I said earlier. My manager thought it was hilarious, which is probably a good sign. And now we wait. Thank you so much for watching this video. Gosh, I worked hard on it. I hope you liked it. I hope you got something out of it. I hope you got to see a different part of life that maybe you don't get to see very often. Whatever that means. Cool. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you in the next video.